Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the multi-layer security that you would use in your home. It's not really a good idea to rely on one piece of technology for your security. It should be a multi-layer defense of a sort. And that might depend on your environment and there's just a lot of variables to make a decision on what's best for you. Of course, one of the best deterrents and best home protection is a dog, a trained dog. Other things is having a gun in the house, and of course having a safe to protect those guns and other things in the house. Other things that you may want to use is, like, I have a sensor in the driveway. If someone drives by it, it's going to set off this guy. I have also cameras, and this is one of the cameras. If you look up here, you'll see there's 3 pictures here. One is blank, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So, anyway, what you're looking at here is a Panasonic webcam. This basically takes pictures and puts them directly on the internet in layman's terms. I could have a still image or even full motion. This is one of the cameras that I have surrounding my house watching everything. So, on the outside perimeter, and I even have internal, but I don't have those on when we're home, but we ain't home. There are pictures being sent, and these have motion detection capability. So if there's movement in the house, I will instantly get an email with an attachment. Now, I had a power outage a couple of days ago, and it zapped this one. Now, this is the first time I've had a failure of any camera in years. I have exclusively the Panasonic line of cameras, and this is the first one that failed. And it was a power outage, and also this took some hard knockings because this one was mounted on a window, and we put the window up and down a couple of times. We knocked this thing pretty freaking hard. So it's weathered the storm pretty well, and I think this particular one has been around for about 3 years. I have some that have been around for I'd say 6 years and still running strong. So I recommend the Panasonic cameras. They have great picture. They have very good sensitivity in low light. So let's get down to really what this video is all about, and that's an unboxing of the replacement, which is the Panasonic BL-C230A. That's a mouthful. This one is wireless. You can remotely move it up and down. You can see it has an eye that moves around. And we'll go ahead and unbox this and see what we have. Now, this is an unboxing video, not a long-term video. So I want to make sure that I make that clear in my videos. Even though I can attest to the long life, longevity, whatever, lifetivity of the Panasonic cameras, because that was the first failure. And actually, I think I had that about 4 years. And again, I have ones as old as 6 years. So, of course, it comes with a brick, power brick. It also comes with a cable. I guess this is so no one steals your security camera. That's kind of funny. And it looks like they have a little bit of mounting hardware in the plastic here. And here's the camera. Still has plastic over it. Looks like you can mount it with screws right there. And what else do we have? Well, we'll open it up in a minute. And it looks like we have software and the manual. Oh, almost forgot. when I was talking about multi-layer security real quick, I was at the Army surplus store. Another good deterrent is tripwire. I couldn't believe it, they had tripwire. So you could do all kinds of fun security things with tripwire. Okay, we'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and read the instructions, put in the software, and then I'll take you through the setup. Be right back. So here we have the camera all unwrapped, and we'll open up the camera by removing the rear cover. I already have the brick plugged in, and it goes into a plug right there. And I have my network cable. You have to start out with a network cable. And I think we got to start out with a network cable. Tell you what, for this demonstration, we'll start out with a network cable. And we'll put it in. Oh, it's doing some funky thing there. You see it? Has his eyeball looking around. And we'll put this cover back. And see how nice that looks? Alright. So there's the front. This power light was blinking a little bit, and now it's solid green. So I'm going to go ahead and set that here. I'm going to set it right here. Now, the instructions say after you turn your camera on, to put your CD into your computer, and we'll go ahead and do that. And then it says, take a sip of your coffee. Now, I had to really cut back on my coffee. Now, let me bring you over here so you can watch the screen with me. Go ahead and flip this over. I'm going to zoom in, and it's basically your Windows 7 telling you to it's okay to run the setup. I'm going to tell it go ahead and run, and it is safe. Might have to back off a little bit here. Okay, it wants me to search for the cameras is the next procedure. A worm alert may be displayed in error while the network camera is setting up. They're letting you know that this thing is searching your network, so you might have antivirus software getting a little touchy that it's searching. And my firewall popped up. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to tell it to allow access since I know what application it is. Now, these are several of my other cameras that are showing up. But this is the camera that I just showed you. Yes. So let's just access the camera. Now, I have to set a username and password, so I am going to pause this for a minute, and I'll be right back. Well, I went ahead and entered my username and password, and now it brought up this web page, and it's asking me whether I want to configure the wireless. Now I'm gonna just to keep this video short, I'm just gonna go over the quickie stuff here. Okay, it says to access this camera, my local access. So this is the web page that Panasonic cameras generally bring up. And if I hit this tab here, you should, it's going to complain that it wants to install a plugin. So I'm going to tell it to install the plugin. And there's my hairy arm. I'm a hairy kind of guy. Well, that's a pretty nice picture. And we'll go ahead and pump up the resolution to something a little bigger. And it wants to do another add-on, so I'll go ahead and run the add-on. And look at that. That's a nice picture. Now, of course, I could control the tilt up, down, side, side. You could watch my arm here. I'll give you something to look at. There's my Henry cup. And I want to make sure, whoops, sorry, that you could see me clicking on the scan up, down button here. You can see. Ain't that cool? Now you can do a scan. I'll do an up and down scan. There's an up and down scan. Do a side to side scan. Here we go. Now what's pretty neat is you can do this anywhere on the internet. If you set up your network right, you can access this web page and get to it from anywhere on the internet. I have an app on my iPhone. I could access this camera. It has a whole bunch of settings in the setup that you can set up triggers. And this particular one can do motion detection. I believe it can also do sound detection, which is pretty neat. You see the, you don't see it because the idiot didn't put down the thing. So you could hear that it's picking up sound because it has a mic. I'm going to show you the mic. See, it has a mic right there. My other cameras don't. This is my first one that has a mic. So you can see it's picking up sound, so I could do sound detection. It could do motion detection. So if it detects motion, so you can see down there it's getting red when it sees motion. It has, you can set the sensitivity of the sensors, and you could tell it to, send pictures to FTP. It can store some pictures locally within the unit. It can, again, send them via an attachment in email. All kinds of fun stuff. This is, and it's not a cheap buy. These cameras tend to run low end $100, and then they could go up to thousands and thousands of dollars. This particular one was $250. So it's nothing to sneeze at, but when you figure out the cost of security and security systems, and also the prevention of a possible theft or break-in, it'll pay for itself. It's not something that you can quantify immediately, but it's there as a deterrent. Of course, you want to lock your house, and again, you have a multiple layered defense around your house. Again, dog, safe, alarm system, cameras, tripwire. I love this tripwire. This is just cool stuff. I couldn't believe it. I saw it. I just couldn't resist. So this is amazingly quick how it went. Now I had to go in and set up the wireless, so I have to put in my SID and my password there. I don't want to give it out to the entire internet. Now, one other thing to remember is that during a power outage, you're vulnerable, so you might want to think about putting this camera on a UPS of some sort. So you want to have it on an UPS. You want to have your entire network, anything that's driving your router, your switches, or whatever it is that it requires to communicate. You want to go ahead and make sure that all those have battery backup that could last a couple of hours. Because most power outages are only just, glitches or out, whatever. But you want it to go through. So this is pretty good. So I think first impressions is it's pretty freaking neat. Seems to be working very well. And again, based on my other Panasonic cameras, I'm sure it's going to last a long time. So, well, I went ahead and got it all set up where it works wirelessly also. So it does function correctly. Just to be specific here on all the different triggers that can get this thing to start sending pictures and alarming and everything. It has a heat or an infrared sensor right there. Again, it has motion sensor, so if something in the picture moves and everything, that could be a trigger. And of course, sound. So you have 3 different methods to trip this thing that'll start sending you pictures or FTPing pictures to a certain place and alarming and all kinds of neat things because it has an alarm too, because there's the speaker right there. Just to show you some other things really quick, you can also do a digital zoom. It really loses resolution when it gets all pixelated when you zoom in really good. You probably can't see it on the camera. You can also change the image quality to favor motion or favor clarity. And of course with clarity it'll slow the frame rate down, but you'll have a more crisp picture. To give you an idea what the alarm sounds like, I went ahead and set it to the maximum volume, and I selected one of the alarms. The barking dog sounds cheesy. I wouldn't even use it. But here's one of the alarms of what it would sound like. So, and that's the camera right up. I put it up here, and that's why it sees me. So, I'm going to do a quick pan, let it pan the room. And you can see it panning. It's panning into the light there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Just to show you what it looks like when it's panning as far as the camera's view, I'm going to go ahead and hit the pan so you can actually see it moving around there. Now also, if you're in the house and you want to make sure that no one's snooping on you, you could hit the privacy button right here, and when you hit that button the light turns red and you'll see the camera hide itself, so you know no one's watching you. So that's it. This was my unboxing of the Panasonic BL-C230 camera, and also just a quick lesson in some very vague and broad statements about home security. Again, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I appreciate all you friends, subscribers, and viewers, and have a good one.